An entrepreneur with no background in software engineering uses a browser-based AI to describe an interface and its logic. Within hours, they have a functional prototype ready for users, a task that previously required a specialized team and several weeks of manual development. Andrei Karpathy describes this shift as vibe coding. As this diagram shows, we are moving away from manual syntax execution, the digital equivalent of laying bricks one by one. Instead, the developer acts as a director, holding the high-level vision while AI executes the underlying machinery. This shift is driven by tools like Cursor, an AI-native environment that understands an entire project's context. Unlike simple plugins, it can rewrite thousands of lines of code across multiple files simultaneously. Its adoption has been swift. Over half of the Fortune 500 are already using it to accelerate their development cycles. This tool comparison matrix shows the spectrum of this new landscape. While professional developers use Cursor for codebase-wide editing, beginners can use platforms like Lovable to generate full-stack logic and databases directly in a browser, often with no prior IT background. The result is that the memorization of programming language rules is no longer the primary gatekeeper to building functional software. If you can define a system's behavior and verify its output, you can create. But the speed of this transition has triggered a labor crisis. According to this 2026 readout, entry-level developer hiring has dropped by 73.4% year-over-year. Consequently, underemployment for recent computer science graduates has reached a historical high of 42.5%. Organizations are engaging in budget arbitrage. Instead of hiring 2 junior trainees, firms use that salary to hire 1 experienced mid-level specialist. This specialist uses an AI stack to handle routine debugging and boilerplate that juniors used to learn on. While some job listings are still tagged as junior, this funnel illustrates the reality. These roles are being cannibalized by more experienced professionals, effectively raising the requirements for entry-level positions to include 3 to 5 years of prior experience. As companies prioritize this immediate jump in productivity, the traditional apprenticeship model of software engineering is bypassed in favor of a leaner, more experienced headcount. For decades, the path into engineering was defined by the manual mastery of syntax. Today, that barrier has been replaced by natural language prompts and high-speed generation. This raises a critical question for the future of the workforce. If AI now handles 80% of the routine CRUD applications, documentation, and unit tests, what work is left for a junior developer to practice on? This is the senior before junior paradox. Because the foundational training tasks are now automated, the baseline requirement for employment has shifted upward to architectural oversight and logic verification, skills that beginners rarely possess. This formula illustrates the risk for beginners. High-speed AI output remains unreliable if the person prompting it cannot verify the results. Zero foundational knowledge multiplied by a high-speed generator doesn't produce business value, it produces a liability. The era of being paid a 6-figure salary to learn the basics while writing routine boilerplate code is effectively over. The role of the human engineer has transitioned from author to editor. As this diagram shows, the primary advantage now belongs to those with deep system architecture understanding, allowing them to use AI as a multiplier to reach 10 times their previous output. A modern engineer's value isn't found in writing code from scratch, but in their ability to audit and verify code they did not write. They are the safety layer between AI-generated logic and a stable production environment. To remain viable, developers must now act as master-level system supervisors, focusing on connectivity, scalability, and catching the hallucinations the AI misses. Relying on AI creates a technical debt bomb. Kaspersky and Retool highlight a security void where AI ignores data sanitation. Context collapse also occurs in large codebases, creating spaghetti structures. Finally, AI struggles with legacy systems, making it dangerous without human oversight. Microsoft's Satya Nadella has described this issue as a serious black box concern. When an application crashes for 100,000 users, an AI cannot debug the failure with human nuance or take legal accountability for the crash. Hiring a developer who can generate code but cannot audit it has become an unacceptable security and operational liability for the modern enterprise. This shift makes the legacy pipeline for tech talent obsolete. Paying for basic boot camps is no longer a viable path. The 2026 Survival Guide mandates new competencies: systemic thinking, security literacy, and managing massive AI-generated code volumes through rigorous version control. Aspiring developers are now advised to use AI as a Socratic tutor, forcing the models to explain the architectural why behind every line of code, rather than using them to bypass the how. The industry has moved from a model of craftsmanship to one of editorial oversight. But while the tools now handle the syntax, the human remains responsible for the integrity, security, and long-term stability of the system.